And now Rachel Zegler is living in London doing the play Evita, where she is playing the lead, and there's been a lot of iconic actresses to have that part before, like Elaine Paige and Madonna. The play Evita, probably the most famous song is Don't Cry for Me Argentina, which was performed by Madonna in the 1996 movie that actually got her a Golden Globe win. So now Rachel Zegler is performing, and she is doing an amazing job, but a lot of people don't like how her and the play decided to organize this. But they've organized it so instead of Rachel Zegler singing inside the theater for the people who paid money for the ticket, she actually goes outside and sings on the balcony with people who didn't pay anything, and they've actually gotten crowds of over 600 people. But the problem is the people actually in the theater are really pissed off about it because tickets are going for as high as $500, but they're actually just watching a live stream of Rachel Zegler singing for a bunch of people who didn't pay anything. And to be fair, this wasn't entirely Rachel Zegler's decision, but she did support the idea saying it makes the play for everyone. Well, except for actually the people who paid money to see it, which is kind of a problem. But with that, I'm Charles Paul. Please subscribe to learn something.
Yeah! Go, Queen. Yeah!
I just want to talk about something that's been on my mind about the balcony scene in Jamie Lloyd's Evita. I just think people are getting the wrong end of the stick.
Seen it on stage multiple times. Seeing all of this Rachel Ziegler stuff of her playing Evita in England right now is just, and that she's making it her own and the stage production looks a little different.
I keep seeing this analysis of the poor people outside getting a show for free while the rich people have to watch it live streamed indoors. And I just think that is kind of an offensively shallow analysis of Jamie Lloyd's direction.
Rachel Ziegler thought she was stepping into history, a once-in-a-lifetime role, a bold reimagining of Evita. Not just a West End revival, but a production carrying the immense weight of one of Latin America's most iconic legacies. For Disney, it was a shot at rehabilitating their fallen star. For Rachel, it was supposed to be her redemption. But the moment she stepped onto that balcony, everything changed. The cameras were rolling. The audience was already divided. And what was meant to be a triumphant return quickly began unraveling. Behind the scenes, a storm was brewing, one that would turn this ambitious revival into a full-blown international controversy. This wasn't just a casting misfire. To many, it felt like a cultural betrayal. What started as an artistic gamble descended into chaos, public protests, backstage meltdowns, emotional breakdowns, and global outrage. At the heart of it all stood a 23-year-old actress who thought she was rewriting history, only to be consumed by it. Director Jamie Lloyd's vision was always going to be polarizing, but no one anticipated that one staging decision would ignite a cultural firestorm. Instead of keeping Rachel Ziegler's Evita confined to the theater, the production flipped the script. In a dramatic twist, Ziegler performed the iconic Don't Cry for Me Argentina, not for the paying audience inside, but from a balcony above the street, singing to the public, who hadn't paid a cent. Meanwhile, audience members who had spent over $500 for premium seats were left watching her on a live stream. To some, it was revolutionary theater. To others, it was an insult. And as expected, the internet erupted.
I can't even. The sound up in the grand circle was not great, and it is one stage, and it's sometimes used really well and sometimes not so well. Could some of them have enunciated a bit more? Yes, but I think that's as much to do with the sound mix as it has to do with their performances, if not more to do with the sound mix than it has to do with their performances. At first, it felt weird seeing Rachel, who's this kind of really small, very young-looking girl, playing Ava at 26. But as things progress, you realise that that's kind of the point, and it was done kind of on purpose. Older than she looks. Jamie Lloyd, first production of yours I've actually...
Taika erupted. Clips flooded the platform, branding the scene as class cosplay. On Twitter, comparisons poured in, some likening it to a Hunger Games dystopia. The elites inside watching a screen, while the masses outside got the live performance. What was intended to be symbolic quickly turned divisive. Within days, it spiraled into something far more volatile. What was meant to be just another night at the theatre became something else entirely. As the sun set over London, a low rumble stirred on the streets below. Scattered chants grew into a full-blown protest. Demonstrators held signs scrawled with "This is not her." The letters smeared in blood-red paint. Argentine flags waved through the crowd. Voices rose. The chants grew louder, echoing off the theater's walls, bleeding into the performance space. The line between the show and the street blurred, and there was no turning back.
Yeah! Go on, Queen.
Backstage, Rachel Ziegler sat in her dressing room. A crew member entered, warning her about the noise outside. At first, she brushed it off, but as the voices swelled and the words "Bring back the real Evita" rang out, clear as a siren, something changed. Cameras captured the moment. Rachel turned to a production assistant, eyes wide, and reportedly shouted, "You promised me they'd love me." That sentence detonated across social media. It unleashed a tidal wave of memes, backlash, and bitter fan outrage, and it was only the beginning.
Congratulations on all the success too, Rachel.
Sir.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Rachel, you got time to sign some autographs for us, Rachel? Rachel, please. Rachel, you got time to sign some, Rachel? Maybe on the way out?
Eyewitnesses say what happened next wasn't just a meltdown. It was a full-blown emotional collapse. Rachel Ziegler reportedly stormed out of her dressing room, demanding answers, hurling accusations at anyone within reach. She pointed fingers at the director, accusing him of setting her up. She lashed out at the costume team, claiming they made her look like a joke. She even blamed the marketing department, saying they cared more about headlines than honoring a legacy. And then came the moment that would haunt the production. In a now-deleted video, Rachel can be heard shouting, "You think I asked for this? I'm the face of this dumpster fire because you cast me." The clip didn't go viral in the usual way. It was quietly mirrored across underground forums, not to expose her, but to protect the crew. "We started recording everything," one crew member later said. "Not for revenge, for insurance. We knew where this was going." By then, Rachel wasn't just unraveling. She was burning bridges in real time. And that very night, a new voice entered the firestorm, one that would flip the entire narrative. A former stage actress, who once played Evita in a regional production, posted a now-viral taika.
I hope everyone stops giving Rachel Zegler just such a hard time.
That's young women. That kind of, what is she supposed to do? You lot made a bad decision and poured millions and millions of dollars into something that no one gave a about. Don't blame it on a 20-year-old girl. Like, it's just horrible. And also, it's just that it just relies. They know that just by throwing a few little things at her, the internet hates women, hates young women that do well, and so they just it's like throwing like
grenade,
a little bit of like food into the sea of piranhas, and then it's just like get her, and then that becomes the story, and it's really mean.
Her face was half hidden, her voice slightly altered, but her words cut like a knife. "This role isn't about Instagram followers," she said. "It's about legacy, sacrifice, and culture. If you don't respect that, you have no business wearing the dress." The video hit a nerve. Within hours, it had racked up over 500,000 views. Reactions poured in, stitched to Toki comparing Rachel Ziegler's red carpet moments to real footage of Eva Perón's rallies. The contrast was damning. In a follow-up post, the actress shared screenshots, messages from fellow theater professionals, most anonymous, voicing their frustration. One message read, "She mocked the original costumes." Another, "She didn't study Eva. She just wanted to make it Hunger Games." Whether the claims were verified or not, the perception had solidified. Rachel wasn't playing Evita. She was playing dress-up. Backstage whispers turned into online roars. At first, critics had shown cautious support, curious to see what a modern Evita might offer. But after the protests, the leaked footage, and the viral backlash, even her defenders began to retreat. Theater blogs that had once praised her casting began quietly scrubbing their glowing reviews. One prominent critic who had called her performance bold tweeted a public retraction. "We gave her the benefit of the doubt, but when you disrespect the legacy and alienate the culture, it's over." Then came the side-by-side comparisons. Clips of Rachel's vocals next to Broadway legends like Patti Lupin's and Elena Roger. The contrast was devastating. One video, bluntly captioned, "From powerhouse to powerless." The comments were even harsher. She performs like she's at a school talent show. She doesn't command the stage, she tiptoes through it like she's afraid to be noticed. What began as backlash had now become something worse, a full-scale industry rejection.
This is just me personally and who I think is the best Evita. My opinion literally doesn't matter, so if you're pressed, put it in the comments and be engagement. So my personal favorite Evita is Patti LuPone. Reason for this being is that Patti LuPone has this devious rudeness to her that I absolutely adore in this character. I don't know if that's actually how Eva Peron was in real life. I don't know, I don't care, but her rendition of this Evita was so aggressive and I loved it. Also, this pair together, lovely. I also saw Caroline Bowman do this, not in person, I wish I did, I would murder someone too. But the thing is, it's just no other person has been able to sing the high notes with such crazy power like Patti LuPone. And I know some people are like, I can't even understand what she's saying, and low-key, I can't tell if I understand what she's saying or not, I just know all the lyrics, so now it makes sense to me. But Patti LuPone on all of her high notes, like in Rainbow High, or Screw the Middle Class, like literally so insane. Absolutely adorable. Close second would be Soul Pfeiffer. I don't know why I haven't even seen the whole thing, but literally I've just heard clips and I'm like, this is amazing.
And then came the nail in the coffin. Leaked internal emails from the production team surfaced, and they were damning. Allegedly exchanged between senior producers, the messages painted a clear and ugly picture of the show's priorities. One email, in particular, went viral across every platform. It read, "She's trending. She's controversial. She'll sell tickets. Doesn't matter if she can sing it, she can sell it." That single sentence shattered whatever support was left. This wasn't about art. This wasn't about legacy. It was about clout.
I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have when I say that this has been the biggest adjustment of my life. Like understanding the way my life operates now, being who I am, and the things that I've been so fortunate to make. It comes with so much ground.
Rachel Ziegler hadn't been cast for her talent. Not for her experience. Not for her respect for the role. She was cast because she could go viral. And the fallout was immediate. Sponsors began to pull out. A major fashion house, originally tied to the costume design, quietly scrubbed Evita from all their social media pages. Behind the scenes, insiders leaked more troubling signs. Refund requests were skyrocketing. Not just from the public, but from VIP patrons and even investment partners. The brand was crumbling. And Rachel, she wasn't just the star anymore. She was the scapegoat. But the outrage didn't stop in London. It exploded in Argentina, the birthplace of Eva Peron, where she's not just a role, but a national icon. The response was swift, furious, and deeply personal. Headlines across Buenos Aires labeled the West End show a disgrace, a parody of our pain, a Western insult. Political leaders condemned the production. Cultural critics accused it of historical erasure. Even the official Eva Peron Museum released a public statement. Eva belongs to the people of Argentina, not to trends, and not to ticket sales. And just when it seemed things couldn't get worse, they did. An old interview of Rachel resurfaced. In it, she casually admitted, "I didn't know anything about Eva Peron when I got the role. I was still Googling her during rehearsals." That one quote was clipped, subtitled in Spanish, and stitched into countless viral TikToks, paired with haunting real footage of Eva's speeches. It wasn't just tone deaf. To many, it was unforgivable. One Argentine taika creator summed it up perfectly. They turned our revolution into a meme.
Out.
Feels wonderful.
Feels wonderful. All right. Congrats, Rachel. Good luck.
Just when people expected an apology, Rachel did the opposite. In the midst of cultural uproar, sponsor withdrawals, and global backlash, she posted a single slide to her Instagram story, a black screen with white text. "Let them scream. I won't break." It was meant to be defiant, but to fans, critics, and even former supporters, it was a slap in the face. No acknowledgement, no apology, no humility, just attitude. Within minutes, the screenshot went viral. One tweet read, "You already did break, sweetie." It racked up hundreds of thousands of likes. Influencers dubbed it the final straw. Even critics who had stayed silent began to speak out. "You can't out-diva the audience," one tweeted. "Ask Andrew Lloyd Webber how that worked out." And now, the financial damage began to match the PR disaster. Ticket sales nosedived. Refunds spiked. Inside the theater, the energy had curdled. What followed on stage wasn't theater. It was a funeral. The curtain rose to rows of empty seats. Some patrons didn't show up. Others cancelled in protest. Fans posted screenshots of their refunded tickets with the caption, "Let me scream too, from my couch." But the most surreal moment came inside the auditorium itself. Silence. Gone were the cheers, the applause, even the polite claps. When Rachel stepped on stage, there was nothing. No ovation. No reaction. Just a cold, awkward void. One reviewer described it as watching a ghost try to resurrect a corpse. Another said the audience felt robotic, like they were pretending to care out of pity. Backstage, Rachel cried quietly in her dressing room. No cameras, no sympathy, just survival. No one had the energy for another breakdown, one crew member said. By week's end, the production wasn't about Evita anymore. It was about endurance. Emergency meetings were called. Some producers pushed for a replacement. Others wanted to shut it down entirely. Do we even have a show anymore? Or just headlines? One executive reportedly asked. On social media, a new wave of edits surged. Side-by-side comparisons of iconic Evita performances versus Rachel's stilted delivery. One viral thread read, "From revolution to rehearsal." But perhaps the most haunting comment came from a once loyal fan. "We didn't cancel Rachel. She cancelled herself the moment she made Eva about her." That line spread like wildfire. It was printed on protest signs, reposted across thousands of comments, and whispered through the theater's marble halls. Because in the end, Rachel Zegler didn't just lose a role. She lost the narrative. The spotlight never left her. It simply burned her. And the ashes that remained, they weren't from the show. They were from a legacy, mishandled, misunderstood, and miscast.